All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, Shalom. I'm not sure why it's on that. But you know what? I'll just start there. This is These are very exciting times that we're living in. And the elections coming up, I believe tomorrow, November 5th, 2024. And hey, who knows what's going to be happening from today till January? Who knows? Because this is a very exciting times. You have floods going on around the world, like the flood that happened in Spain. I believe there was one that just happened in Israel yesterday, and the one that happened in Spain. You had cars just floating down the street. The people afterward throwing mud at the king and the queen of Spain is very exciting. And forgive me, I don't know if I just had too much coffee, whatever, but you feel excited because everything that you see happening in the news, everything that you see going on, the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Yashar Allah that will be ruled over by Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, is getting closer and closer. So it's a very exciting time. So this is Matthew chapter 10 and verse 34, because the people of this world who ignorantly follow these anti-Christians or Christians, these anti-Christians that follow after Jesus, follow after what they've made up in their mind. They think that the person that they ignorantly called Jesus, whose name is Yahushai, they think that he's just all about love and peace and everything. He's just a loving and caring and a soft-hearted, kind, cuddly teddy bear. But hey, out of his own mouth, he says otherwise. So this is Matthew 10 and verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on the earth. Send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. So Yahushua didn't come for peace. He's coming. When he's coming back, he says, I will not meet thee as a man. And he's coming with vengeance. He's coming with fire. He's coming with destruction. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. So he's coming to bring separation. They're coming to bring division. And you're seeing that in these times. So let me see this word for variance. This is G1369, like dikazo. To make apart, to set at variance, to cut into two parts, to cleave asunder. So he's coming to bring division. He didn't come to bring everybody together to be lovey-dovey. The only ones that he's gathering is the sheep of Israel, the lost sheep of Israel, his elect, those that do the will of his father. Like he said, who is my mother? Oh, come on, what is this? Anyway, he come to gather his elect, and the rest of the world, they're going to be divided. They're going to be going into chaos. Verse 36, and a man's, folks, let me read that again. Matthew 10 and verse 34, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. So a civil war. Back in the 1800s when America had a civil war, it was their own families fighting against each other. The North versus the South, and a lot of them people killing each other were family members. And the same thing that's going to happen in these times. So I had an article here, which, I read, briefly, but, we'll go through it because you see, I'll just read it. This is from OregonLive.com, and this is boarded windows return to downtown Portland ahead of Election Day. And this is from November 1st, 2024. And it was first published October 31st, 2024. So you see this going on all around the country. and you see it in DC, Oregon, probably other places, but those are the main two places where I've seen. Says the exterior windows of a building on Southwest 6th Avenue are covered with plywood boards while allowing a view into the lobby. Some businesses are boarding up windows and doors in preparation for election night. So as election day, oh, you have to be a subscriber. Dang it. Slaki, I didn't even read through all this, so I'm not. So I'm gonna have to go back and find another article. Salakia. As election day nears, some downtown Portland businesses are taking precautions as they prepare for social unrest. And, that's probably all I need to read, because you see these businesses are boarding up their windows. Why? Because they're preparing for different protests, for riots. Let me see if I can go back on this. Let me see. This is from the Daily Mail. It says store windows are boarded and cops brace for election riots as Red Hot America heads to the polls. So red hot. This is at a boiling point. They know that the left versus the right is against each other. These conservatives versus these liberals versus the Republicans versus the Democrats. The LGB, ABC, versus the people that are against that. People that don't want that stuff forced on their children versus the people that want all that stuff. This place is divided. You have the men versus the women. You have the black women versus voting for Kamala and the black men voting for Trump. This place is completely divided, and it's beautiful to see. So stores and buildings near the White House are boarding up their windows with just days to go before the election as America braces for violence. Workers today were seen boarding up storefronts along 17th Street, thousands of miles away in Portland, Oregon, the scene of Antifa carnage during the George Floyd. Yeah, they're talking about that stuff. But basically, they're boarding up their business. They're trying to minimize the damage. They're preparing for what could potentially take place. For the unrest, for the riots, because each side, they're preparing for this. Each side is ready to blame each other if the other one loses. If something happens, anything happens, they're looking to blame each other. They're looking to point the finger at each other. And this place is a powder keg ready to explode. It's what's that? It's at a flashpoint. So anything can happen, it's going to go up in flames. And I had this because that other article, mentioned social unrest. So I put in here social unrest, societal collapse. So social unrest, and this is just a quick Google, social unrest refers to widespread public dissatisfaction and protest often triggered by economic inequality, political oppression, or social injustice, while societal, which all these things you see happening here in Babylon the Great. You see protests, all these things happening. Unrest. Matthew 24. Yeah, Matthew 24, the signs that Yahushua gave that when he would be returning. You would hear wars. There would be uproars of the people. There'd be earthquakes. So many things going on. Chaos, in other words. So while societal collapse describes a more severe breakdown of a complex society, where basic functions like government, food distribution, and security deteriorate significantly. So often leading to widespread violence and drastic decline in living standards. So these are two different things, in other words, it's saying, but these things, the social unrest can I'll just continue reading. Essentially, social unrest can be a precursor to societal collapse if left unaddressed and escalates to a critical level. So, this social unrest, these things could escalate out of control because there's already famines, there's already, storms, earthquakes, there's already these things happening where infrastructure could be shut down. So if social unrest, these different protests and riots get out of control, it can lead to a collapse. And we know eventually this society is going to collapse because it's already at the end. You see all the signs here. So this is Mark chapter 3 and verse 24, and I'll read it in the King James first. It says, "And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand." So if this kingdom, like you see, it's divided against itself. It can't. It's not going to be able to stand. There's no way to unite these people. You know, they're. You got people that are for killing their babies, people against it, people that are for the Moism, people that are against that, people that want this, that. And this place is completely divided on down to the very smallest thing. This is in the NLT. A kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. So, hey, this place is divided, and eventually it's going to be a civil war. You know, that's what's potentially here going on right now. You know, these different. If whoever wins this, there's potential for a civil war to break out, and how beautiful it's going to be because that we're that much closer to the kingdom of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, to the kingdom of heaven. This is I think in the Amplified. If a kingdom is divided, split into factions and rebelling against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. So you see, there's different factions. You know, they mentioned that article mentioned Antifa. You know, you have way more factions than that. You have so many different factions that it's hard to keep up with. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16. I'm sorry, 2 Ezra chapter 15, and I'll start at verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So, like it says in Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10, you know, the time is coming, this time of Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30 and verse 7, you know, these times coming are coming to try the entire world. You know, these times coming to MOTB, all this is gonna test the entire world. This is not just for Babylon the Great. This is gonna test the entire world. The entire world is gonna be in chaos. So it's 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world, woe meaning destruction. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So woe to this world. All them that dwell in the world, those that aren't heavenly minded, those that aren't of the hopeful elect, woe to them. Because if you're not of the elect, you're not gonna have a good time. The elect are gonna be having a rough time, but they're gonna be in much better case than those that are, you know, carnally living in this world. So woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So a group of people are going to stand up and they're going to fight against another. And the civil war, 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16, and there's going to be civil war, there's going to be a world war, there's going to be so much going on. 2 Ezra 15 and verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're not gonna regard anything. There's sedition. Let me look that up, because I had it pulled up. So sedition. Sedition, this is in the Wiktionary.org, says from Latin seditio. So sedition, discord, sed, apart, and isio, going. So going apart. So they're separating. Like Yahushua said, I came not to bring peace, but a variance. All these things are pulling apart from each other. So sedition, organized incitement of rebellion or civil disorder against authority or the state, usually by speech or writing, an insurrection or rebellion. So these different groups, these different factions, they're organizing together and they're really rebelling, because what happens in these with these elections, they're going to rebel either way. Oh, I forgot the other. I don't remember if that's in the. Let me see here. Ah, there it is. Okay, I wasn't sure if this was the same thing, but this is Second Ezra chapter 15, and I'll start at verse 15 in the GNT. Says the war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. So you're seeing that different nations arming themselves. You know, you see Iran, you know, Yemen. You know, you see these nations that were once looked at as weak. You know, saying let the weak say they are strong. You know, you see these nations arming themselves. These different nations getting nuclear arsenals. You see Ukraine, you know, crying out, trying to get nuclear weapons. The war that will bring their destruction is very near, and that's World War III. That's the war of Armageddon, Harmageddon, the gathering of the dang it, the gathering of troops. I think it's a mountain of gathering of troops or something like that. Basically, all these troops are going to be gathered together in the Middle East. That's where World War III is going to be taking place. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves to fight against other nations. There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. So, hey, this is what's going to be happening here. Hey, they're going to have a legitimate, you know, they're going to be ignoring whatever the elections say. They're going to be ignoring that. They're going to say that their side won, and they're going to rebel. They're going to be insurrections. And since I had that pulled up on the other one, this is a insurrection. It's basically a uprising against a government, rebellion, revolt, civil disorder, riot, illegal armed assault. To arise. So insurrection, the action of part or all of a national population uprising or violently rising up against the government or other authority. An instance of this, a revolt, an uprising specifically, one is at the initial stage. Yeah, that's fine. So again, Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16. And this is in the KJV. For there shall be sedition among men, a rebellions, civil unrest, you know, uprisings, and invading one another. And things are going to get so bad. If you read in chapter 16, it says that they're going to not regard their neighbors. They're going to be, you know, going through their neighbors' houses. Things are going to get very bad here. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're going to be doing what they want to do, what they see is right. A man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able. So, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Because these cities, and you have 15-minute cities where you're not going to be allowed to travel, you know, outside of that. You're going to have places where the infrastructure might be cut off. It's going to be a lot of things, you know, that You might need for a 15-minute city, you might need the MOTB to get in there to gain access. Other places, the infrastructure might be cut off to where you can't get in there. There might be too much fighting going on to where you can't pass through certain routes. Let's see here. This is Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. Now, this is the land of spiritual Egypt. This is Sodom and Egypt. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So complete division, complete chaos. And these Egyptians, and these Edomites here, these Babylonians, the so-called white men, they're going to be fighting against each other. There's going to be complete division, complete chaos here. This is I pretty much read this, but I'm going to jump up to Luke 12 and verse 49. This is Yahushua speaking. I am come to send fire on the earth. So Yahushua came to bring fire. And when he comes back, he's going to be in his chariot zapping people. And I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I if it be already kindled? So when Yahushua gets here, it's already going to be chaos. It's already going to be to where World War III is going to be going on. And that they're going to stop fighting. They're going to stop what they're doing and turn to Yahushua and try to fight him. And they're gonna fail miserably. But this is pretty much it for the lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, Shalom.